Welcome to Sakshi TV's special immigration show with attorney Mr. Prashant Dubey from the Dubey Law Office PLLC. Please note that Sakshi TV now has 3 immigration shows every week. On Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Ms. Prashanti Reddy in English, Thursday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Chand Parvatneni, and on Friday at 6 p.m. EST with attorney Bhanu Ilindra. Please tune in to ask your questions. If you're an immigration attorney and would like to join our special shows, please email us at usa@sakshi.com or call 866-725-7441. Before we begin the show, please note that the information provided on this show is not a legal advice and is for general informational purposes only. Sakshi TV or its agents will not be responsible for use of information. If you need specific legal advice, please contact the attorney directly. Today, we have with us an esteemed attorney, Mr. Prashant Dubey. Mr. Dubey is very well known within the H4 EAD litigation world. Over the course of 2 years, he has successfully litigated over 530 lawsuits against USCIS over delayed EAD immigration benefits. His litigation practice spans across all 4 service centers of USCIS. He has been practicing immigration attorney for over 4 years with a focus on business and family immigration, and the bulk of his practice focuses on immigration litigation. So if you need consultation, please log on to dubeylawoffice.com for contact information. And when you connect with them, do not forget to mention Sakshi TV. The dubeylawoffice.com has put a wealth of free information and online tools in the hands of immigrant community and for the benefit of US employers. The site provides you with latest and cutting-edge information on US immigration law and policies explained in terms you don't have to be a lawyer to understand. Today's topic is the EAD delay and litigation. We will continue the knowledge session along with the news and updates on latest immigration, followed by Q&A. Before we get into the topic, you can call us on the numbers on the screen for questions related to immigration and also ask for tips. Welcome, Mr. Dubey. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good. How are you?
Very well, sir. Welcome to our show. We're very privileged to be hosting you today. And how do you feel, sir?
Excellent. It's good to be on Sakshi TV and to have your team support. So I'm excited to be talking about some of the recent developments within the world of H4 EADs and H4 EAD delay related litigation. So I think over the last couple of years, what has happened is that there have been significant delays with the processing of H4 EAD cards. And as a result, individuals are losing their jobs, they're losing their health benefits, they're having a number of financial related impacts because if their EADs are not renewed in time, then of course they're unable to continue their work. And USCIS over the last couple of years, I would say they've made a significant amount of progress in order to make the situation better for H4 EAD holders, right? So really stemming back from November of 2021, where they created the automatic extension rule for H4 EAD holders, where basically if an individual is in an H4 status, if they have a timely filed EAD application and they have an expired EAD card, then they can take advantage of 540 days of additional work authorization, right? For dependents of individuals in the L status, USCIS has actually done away with the EAD card entirely. And essentially, individuals that are in L2 can work incident to their status. So they actually receive an I-94 record when they enter the country or on their approval notice stating that they are eligible to work. They don't need an EAD card in order to do so. So as you can see, USCIS has made progress in terms of really helping to facilitate the processing of these applications or to provide some sort of relief if you are facing some delays. Now, some individuals that don't stand to benefit from that are folks that have a change of status application that is pending, or they are first-time standalone EAD filers. And so those are the individuals that, at least over the last year, that I've seen approach our firm for purposes of litigation, for purposes of fast-tracking their applications. In addition to the automatic extension rule that's been created, USCIS has also now recently started bundling applications. So back in 2018, for whatever reason, USCIS decided that H-1B and H-4 and H-4 EAD applications were all going to be approved separately. And as of January of this year, there was actually a court decision and a court order asking USCIS that you need to rebundle these applications. So moving forward, if individuals are filing an H4 EAD application along with their spouse, the primary H1B holder, then all three of your applications should get approved together. Now, this will definitely provide some relief because if an H1B holder is doing premium processing, then they get a decision within 2 weeks. And as a result, the H4 and H4 EAD applications will also get approved within 2 weeks. So that will be an added benefit. Now, keep in mind, if you are filing separately from your H1B spouse, then you're not going to get the benefit of having your applications bundled together. In addition, USCIS has also created and really tasked themselves with some life cycle policies. So they are stating publicly that by October of 2023, their goal is to make sure that they can approve H4 EAD applications within 3 months, right? And they've made this publicly available information on their website. Those are their cycle time goals, is to approve these applications within 3 months of their actual filing. So we'll see come, end of their current 2023 fiscal year, if they're able to do that, or, are we still in a situation where we're going to continue litigating some of these delayed cases?
All right. So Mr. Dubey, would you want me to start with the questions about litigation process?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Could you please explain to us the writ of mandamus?
Sure. So it's something that sounds super fancy, but it's really not. Basically, a writ of mandamus is just a method by which you can obtain a court order so that your applications can be approved, right? So when we file a lawsuit against the government or USCIS over delayed EAD benefits, we file a writ of mandamus. And all we're doing is we're asking the court to grant an order stating that the government needs to approve your applications. Now, we typically do this in situations where an application has been pending at least 4 months. So if your H4 and H4 EAD applications have a receipt notice that are at least 4 months old and you approach our firm, then we are able to assist you and help you with a writ of mandamus litigation process. And essentially what that entails is as soon as a client approaches me and says, hey, look, I'm very interested in doing this litigation, I send them a retainer agreement, I send them a checklist of documents, they send all of that information back to me, and then I begin work on their lawsuit. It takes us about 1 week to prepare a complaint against the government, but we file it in the service center where your application is pending. So if it's Nebraska, we file it in Nebraska. If it's Texas, we file it in Texas, so on and so forth. And really the benefit of filing the lawsuits in each of these individual service centers is that we're able to spread them out. So we used to file them all in Washington, D.C. That became very challenging because D.C. basically said, hey, look, we don't want you filing hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits in our jurisdiction. And so by spreading it around, we really do get the cooperation of the government in these complaints, right? So as you alluded to earlier, we filed a total of 538 lawsuits so far against USCIS over EAD delays. 537 of those applications already have been approved. One application is still pending in court. We filed that last week. So what I mean to say is we can get your approval pretty quickly by way of litigation. When we file a lawsuit, it typically takes 30 to 60 days to obtain an approval. And the reason why we can obtain it so quickly is we found that the government is very reluctant to litigate these cases in court. They don't want to take the time, energy, money, and resources to actually go in front of a judge and have to explain why they've been sitting on your application. And so when we file the lawsuit, we do expect that within 30 to 60 days, you will get your approvals back. Now, I think one of the reasons contributing to that is we file individual lawsuits, right? So we don't group together 10, 20, 30, or 40 individuals into one complaint. We individualize and personalize our approach. So each of our clients, we are able to extract their specific situation, highlight their specific facts, and really talk about, how the delay is impacting them individually or as a family. And we found that the government really appreciates that. So when we're working with the attorney from the Department of Justice who is representing USCIS, they really like the fact that, okay, I'm just focused on one client, one receipt notice, and I know, who at USCIS I need to reach out to in order to get this person's approval back. So again, the reason why we personalize it is because we find that to be the most effective approach to litigation. We also have a couple of examples, right? So some cases over the last couple of years that have really stood out to me. We've had some clients who are pregnant, who face EAD delays, and they approach me and say, if my EAD card expires and I don't receive my approval by a certain date, I lose my job, I lose my health insurance, I also lose my maternity leave benefits. In the US, maternity leave benefits can be thousands of dollars, right? So you're already facing a very critical time of your life where you're bringing a newborn child into this world. And on top of that, you need to worry about whether or not you're going to have your job and all of the benefits that come along with it. And we found that, again, by personalizing these complaints, these lawsuits, we're really able to highlight those facts and situations and apply maximum pressure on the government to extract your approval. We've had medical professionals that approach us who, need to do the residency program here in the US, and they're unable to start the residency program unless their work authorization is approved, right? If you don't start your residency program, you cannot start it again for another year, right? So that is a significant delay in somebody's professional career, right? So these are some of the situations that really have stood out to me over the last couple of years as we've continued to, litigate these H4 EAD delay cases. And again, personalizing them, giving each client the individual attention that they need has really helped us to extract approvals and really helped us be successful.
While we're on that subject, Mr. Dubey, when you said that you individually cater to each of your clients and prepare a lawsuit individually according to their situation, not every one of your clients, I'm sure, has the same situation. But do you probably have a period of time, like how long does it take to prepare an individual lawsuit? Would there be a common time probably?
So it takes us about a week to prepare a lawsuit, right? And then what happens is once we file it in court of the jurisdiction where your receipt is pending, so that can be Texas, Nebraska, California, or Vermont. From there, what happens, a U.S. attorney gets assigned to the case. That U.S. attorney is a lawyer from the Department of Justice who represents the government. So within a few weeks of us filing the complaint and the lawsuit, the U.S. attorney gets assigned. As soon as they're assigned, we know who we're working with on the other side in order to initiate this negotiation process so that we can highlight our client's facts and circumstances. From there, that U.S. attorney goes to USCIS and says, hey, a lawsuit has been filed against you for this very specific receipt number. Where are we in approving this application? How quickly can we approve this application? And what I found is from the day that we file the lawsuit, we typically see that on average, within 30 to 45 days, our clients get an approval. Now, sometimes it can take up to 60 days. Let's say a client has an RFE or a request for evidence type of situation where the government needs additional information in order to approve your case, then we can see that it does tend to go to the 2-month mark. But on average, 30 to 45 days is typically what we see as an approval timeline. Now, the reason why I keep capping it at 60 days is because the government has a 60-day response deadline. So it's not as if we file a case in court and the government can just respond whenever they want. They have to respond within 60 days of when we do service of process on the U.S. Attorney's Office. Service of process is basically just us sending a copy of the complaint, the exhibits, the civil cover sheet, and other supporting documentation to the U.S. Attorney's Office. From there, their 60-day clock starts ticking.
Right. And who qualifies to litigate, Mr. Dubey?
So we require that clients wait at least 4 months from the date of their receipt notice, right? So if you have a receipt notice that is at least 4 months old within the context of an H4 EAD case, then we can absolutely take your case, we can litigate your case and successfully do so. In the past, at least early on, we would have clients that would approach us with maybe a receipt notice that is 1, maybe 2 months old. And the government would tell us point blank, look, litigation is not some sort of back channel premium processing. You can't expect that your client files an application today, litigates tomorrow, and on day 3, we're going to approve their applications, right? So it's really meant for those individuals that are facing delays within the H4 EAD application. And in order to, really prevent you from maybe losing your job, maybe you're unable to start a job if you have a new EAD application that's been pending. This is really to help those individuals that have been pending at least 4 months. That's where we see the most success. We can take receipt notices that are earlier than that if there is an emergency situation. So, for example, actually, just last week, we filed a lawsuit on behalf of a client with a receipt notice that was only 3 months old, but that client has a medical concern as well as, she's about 6 months pregnant, right? So she doesn't get her approval in the next couple of months here. She will lose her job. She will lose her maternity leave benefits. It will impact her personally from a health insurance angle as well. So we can take it earlier than 4 months on a case-by-case basis, as long as you've got a very, solid argument and sympathetic argument.
Right. So, Mr. Dubey, what happens after the lawsuit is filed, and how long does it usually take to get the approval?
Yeah. So on average, 30 to 45 days is what it takes to get the approval. Once we file the lawsuit, we also do service of process on the U.S. Attorney's Office, which takes a few days. From there, their 60-day clock starts ticking. As soon as we understand who is assigned to the case from the Department of Justice, we initiate the negotiation process for our clients. And we typically see that after we file a lawsuit, within 30 to 45 days, our clients are getting their approvals.
Right. And could you probably inform us about the costs involved in the process?
Sure. So we keep it consistent. It's a flat rate. It's a total of $4,700. That is $3,900 in attorney fees, $800 in administrative fees. And this covers end-to-end cost of litigation. There's no additional hidden fees. We don't charge you anything extra. Everything is included within that $4,700.
Right. And what about the impact to future applications, Mr. Dubey?
So that's a common question I get from probably 99% of my clients. Like, hey, I'm going to file a lawsuit against the government. What sort of impact is this going to have on any future applications of mine? Or what impact is this going to have on a green card application or a future citizenship application? I can tell you, after doing this over 530 times, I have never had one client come back to me and say, hey, because I did litigation, a future extension application or a green card application of mine got denied, right? I've even had some clients who, when they started litigating with us back in the summer of 2020, and there was a massive progression of priority dates since 2020 into 2022, some of my clients approached us to file their green cards, and they've also successfully obtained their green card. So I've never seen litigation negatively impact anyone's immigration process moving forward.
Right. So would you want to probably tell us about your litigation success rate as well?
Yeah. So over the last 2 years, we have filed a total of 538 lawsuits against USCIS, with 537 of those lawsuits, of those applications having been approved. So we're sitting at a 99, plus percentage success rate. We do have one case that's pending in court. We just filed that case last week. So that will probably, be approval number 538 once the litigation timeline shakes out.
Wow, that's brilliant, Mr. Dubey. I mean, that's a great success rate. 99% is, of course, a lot. But before we sign off, since we've come to the end of the show and we've clearly understood that you're a litigation expert, could you probably give our viewers a golden immigration message for the season?
There's a lot of uncertainty within these changing regulations, these changing rules. There's always a new class action or a court case. I would say, find a trusted advisor, right? It doesn't have to be me. It can be any immigration attorney out there that you trust, that you have a good relationship with, and make sure that if there is a lack of clarity around something, that you reach out to that trusted advisor for, any information that you need, any clarity that you need, because a lot of times clients will approach me after a significant amount of damage has been done. So for example, I'll sometimes have clients approach me who say, hey, I forgot to file my spouse's H4 extension applications. Or, hey, when I was filing the H4 EAD application, I took the photographs myself. Should I have done that, right? Those types of things can really impact your immigration trajectory or create delays around the immigration process. So find a trusted advisor. Again, it can be any immigration attorney that you feel like you have a good working relationship with, and make sure you get clarity around your questions, as opposed to, doing a Google search or going on Track It and trying to find the information yourself. Get it from a professional opinion.
Right. So clearly, these sound like the don'ts of a litigation process. Would you want to add 3 more probably before we end?
Don't wait too long, right? That would be another one. I've sometimes had clients approach me after a year when they could have approached me after 4 months, right? So if you are facing immigration delays, you're unable to start a job, you're about to lose your job, you're on a leave of absence, and you're going to be terminated, or you've already been terminated, don't hesitate to reach out, right? At the end of the day, inform yourself with what the litigation process is and what it can do for you, and then make an informed decision based on that, right? In addition, don't feel like every immigration attorney is doing a class action or group lawsuits. There are some of us out here that are personalizing and individualizing, this litigation process on behalf of the community, right? And sometimes folks think, every immigration attorney is just signing me up and they're going to stuff 10 people into one complaint. That's not the case, right? We've moved slower as a result as a firm, but I do sincerely think that that's been one of the reasons why we've been successful. So it's taken us a while to get to that 500 number, but I think for each of my clients, they've really appreciated that.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dubey. It was a pleasure talking to you and interviewing you and hosting you on Sakshi TV. This is the first time we've had you on our show, and we look forward to a lot more shows that we can do together on this platform.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for hosting me. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. You're watching Sakshi TV. This is Tormi. Thank you.